The McFluff Story, Generation 1, Episode 5. Welcome, Mrs. Carrots. We will be continuing the story from where we left it in Episode 4. Gerry is reading one of his recipes. He's going to have to put his book down, though, because the carpool's already out there waiting to take him to work. Looks like he made it. And there's his workplace, the science building. He's level 2 in the science career. He's got a lot of work ahead of him before he becomes a mad scientist at level 10. Unfortunately, his best friend, and I think recently made romantic interest, is Iris, and she lives in the same house, the housemates, but she works from the time Gerry gets home from work until late in the evening in the culinary career. And at the lower levels of the careers, Iris has her 2 days off in midweek, while Gerry has his 2 days off at the weekend. Now here is Iris. She's arrived at work. Florence Wilson there in the white top. I think it's Silver Racket with the long blonde hair. I've got the Racket family from Twinbrook in this save. Iris has forgotten about going to work, so it's fortunate that I checked up on her. She's having a conversation with the proprietor. And yes, I still haven't put the tables around the coffee house, but that's because I haven't played the game since I recorded the last episode. There's a few Sims arriving in their culinary career outfits and running away. I've reminded Iris now that she really does have to go to work, so there she is. She's left the proprietor standing there alone, reading a book. The gardeners and the gardener service have arrived, and they're taking care of the garden. If you're wondering where I got that beautiful banana tree from, it is from Mod the Sims. If you Google harvestable banana plant Sims 3, you will find it on Mod the Sims, and it was made by Douglas Vega, and there is a harvestable coconut tree with it as well, and there are recipes that go with both of them. And if you see Gerry often drinking out of a coconut, is from the harvestable coconut tree. He's been picking the coconuts up off the floor and putting them in his inventory, and then he drinks them when he wants some coconut juice. The coconut trees are quite small, and there aren't any left in the garden now. They've all died. Fortunately, the garden is gradually shrinking. I won't plant anything more, but we may see them growing in a later episode after they've moved to Hidden Springs. So Iris is going to have some fun in the gyroscopic conductor, and I have been assured by Palm Arrow, thank you, that this came with Showtime. It is nothing to do with limited edition. Anyone that's got Showtime, you'll have it. If you're interested in the harvestables, Cinderella Mouse has got her own WordPress site now, which is Sims in the Woods. So you can have a look on there to see more of her stuff. And Ice Mum has a site as a Tumblr, Icy Spicy Scalpel. And there's 2 hyphens, icy-spicy-scalpel, and they've got lots of other stuff there as well. So Iris is cleaning up the newspapers. I should just cancel the newspapers, but I never do. You never know, I might just want to read it one day, because you learn all sorts of interesting information if you get your Sims to read the paper, but I've always got so many other things for them to do. As I said before, the paintings are by Sim Picasso and Cutie Brown Eyes. I've been informed that it's not Cutie Brinnis, it's Cutie Brown Eyes. I was a bit concerned when I was saying it before because I wasn't real sure how to say it. But she's the one who made the pink painting on the wall. So Iris is tired, she's going to sleep. That's her bedroom. And if you want some of those other paintings, if you Google Sim Picasso, Picasso, Sims 3, you'll find massive amount of artwork that they've put up. Old masters and all sorts of things. So Gerry's home and he's going to tend to his little garden, his special little garden with his forbidden fruit that's growing well, and it's also got those other 2 pot plants on either side where he's planted the flame fruit and the garlic plant because he has a wish to grow a flame fruit and a garlic plant. And even though Gerry is taking care of these every day, and the first thing the first gardener on the lot does is go in and tend to them all as well. So the gardeners arrive at 8 o'clock in the morning, so it must be 8 a.m. Yes, the other mods, I get most of my things there from Mod the Sims, from Luna, who's really, really hard to find her things now. There's some of those pot plants at the back. The little hearts are from ATS3, around the Sims 3. I have downloaded massive amounts of her stuff. I sent Iris off to collect a gemstone and she's run off and got it. And now she's heading home, and there's the newspaper girl. So there's another paper there to recycle. I'm going to have to reorganise the garden a bit because some of those trees are poking up through the floor, and I've noticed the gardeners are resetting, and when they reset, the garden doesn't get completed for that day and the harvestables don't go into the fridge. So I will need to stop them from growing through the floor, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much of the garden they haven't done, fix the whole garden so it looks like it's all been worked on, and stashes all of the harvestables for that day into the fridge so that your Sims can get them out and sell them. So I've got both Gerry and Iris reading recipes. They keep doing that till they know enough, and I have got about 3 or 4 times the number of recipes that came with the game because of all those extra mods I've got. Iris had a wish to make eggs Machiavellian, so first of all she had to read the recipe, which came with the game of course, and now she's making it. I'm trying to grant as many wishes as possible because they don't have much in the way of lifetime happiness yet. I'm just waiting for this forbidden fruit seed to ripen so he can pick it, so they can head off to China. So I want to get out of this world as soon as possible because some of the children are aging up to teen and I want to send them to boarding school. Not that I'm worried about them not getting skills, because those particular children have already been skilled, but I want them to meet other Sims at boarding school, such as Oscar. One of them's already aged up to teen, so I'll have to get him to boarding school as a teenager to meet up with Oscar. They're all witches, they're all Bombay children. There's about 3 or 4 of them that are boys and a few girls. So she got her wish. And now Iris has a wish to grow a forbidden fruit seed. So here she goes. This time we're not going to sit through it all because it was an endless process. Gerry got his forbidden fruit the first go. Iris was not so lucky. You could put it down to skill level. Iris had 0 skill and Gerry had about a level 4 skill when he started. But going on previous experience, I don't think the skill level has a lot to do with it. Iris changed her seeds about 10 times into various other seeds of higher or lower quality. She even managed to delete it completely. So then Gerry had to go and give her some more seeds. She's using the seeds that Gerry collected at the greenhouse in the previous episode because he's got a pocket full of seeds. He can keep those seeds. He might use them in hidden springs. She gets excited when she has managed to successfully change her seed, but obviously she didn't make her forbidden fruit seed. So there's Gerry's forbidden fruit. I wonder if it's ready to harvest yet. It takes 3 days. It goes from planted on the first day to a sprout to mature, and then it's ready to harvest. And if you don't harvest it pretty well straight away, it will die. My first one died, but that was years ago now when the university first came out. And then I didn't play with them again for a couple of years. Now every time not every time my Sims want one, because every Sim wants one constantly. But every so often I will grow one. I've got a lot of plant Sims in my game now, but the oldest has only got as far as teen, so I haven't had any actually grow up to young adult yet. But we'll see them running around town. They go to boarding school. They're just like other Sims, except they're different. As usual, I wasn't prepared for a baby, and I didn't have a name thought of. So Dan was the really quick decision I made, the spur of the moment. All of my Sims are named like that, I'm afraid. I think of the name when the name box pops up and I get a shock, like, oh, I've got to think of a name. So this one's Dan. He loves the outdoors and he's athletic. Not bad traits for traits that were given by the game. I didn't choose them, and I wasn't prepared for him either. I wasn't sure if we were actually going to get a plant Sim baby. It was entirely possible we would have got a forbidden fruit. So I had to stop and go into buy mode, and I bought 2 cots because another forbidden fruit seed to plant now. I don't usually use those cots, but I thought they'd be suitable for a plant Sim baby. I just don't like the leaf over the top. Now, the other thing is plant Sim babies aren't like ordinary babies. The only need that they have to worry about is the social need. There's no changing of diapers and there's no feeding of bottles. So you just got to be played with occasionally. Iris still hasn't got her forbidden fruit seed, and I've gone and bought a second cot, assuming that she will get the seed, that she will plant it, which she's now going to do, and that it will turn into a plant Sim baby, because each forbidden fruit seed has got a 50-50 chance of becoming a plant Sim baby or a forbidden fruit. And if it's a forbidden fruit, any Sim can pick it and eat it and turn into a plant Sim. But if it's a plant Sim baby, well, then you've just seen what happens. Sometimes you get lots and lots of forbidden fruit and no plant Sim babies, and sometimes you get plant Sim babies and no forbidden fruit, and sometimes you get a bit of both. So we don't really know what Iris is going to get here. Now, when little Dan was put into his cot, I also bought a side table and a music player or radio for children, and it's playing his favourite music, which is Island Life. He's got a teddy bear as well in his inventory. He will get an imaginary friend shortly. The thing is, we're going to do everything we can to get his lifetime happiness points up as fast as possible. Alien abduction. Who's getting abducted? I think it was Iris. Pretty sure it was Iris, actually. I almost missed getting that one on video. So here we are. The alien abduction is over. Who has come home? It is Iris. And a very elderly alien. Going off in the space car. Gerry had to get handiness skill in a hurry because he needed it at work. He didn't have any and he needs to get up to level 3. So he's gone to the library and he's reading a handiness book, and we're going to check out some of the other Sims that are in the library. So that one standing up there, that is Lisa Harmon. That's, remember Donna Fields, who's married to Tom and they've got 2 little toddlers? Well, that's Donna's mother. And the blonde sitting there is Henrietta Biggs, who we met in the previous video, and one of the teenage witches is also sitting there. Now there's nobody at home because Gerry's gone off to the library and Iris is at work. So here's the babysitter. I don't know his name, but I thought he was very well dressed. How many babysitters do you know that come to work in a tuxedo, white tuxedo and bow tie? And he is a very attentive babysitter as well. I've been very impressed with the way he takes care of the baby. Since a plant sim baby only requires being played with and sleeping, the other need they have is sleep, is energy, but babies have no problems with that because you don't play with them all the time. I still haven't moved those trees out of the way. They're still growing through the floor. So he's going to sit down there and play a computer game. I'm going to be sad to see him gone. I'm almost tempted that when I'm ready to move them to Hidden Springs to invite him over to do the babysitting and capture him and add him to the household, because he looks like he could be an interesting little sim. He might be somebody to, because if you're going to have a large family, it's always good to have somebody else to help take care of the babies. And I have no ideas how many babies Gerry and Iris are going to have. They're going to have at least one, and I'm not counting the plant sim babies. I noticed when I gave Dan his teddy bear, he didn't get the cuddle time moodlet straight away. It didn't come until he was a couple of days old. So Iris is on the way home from work. Wanted to make sure she gets the mail so that little Dan can get his imaginary friend delivered. So that isn't Iris, that's Gerry going to check on the mail. There goes the babysitter, he's heading home. There's Iris, she's just come home too. So everybody's home now. See, I've put the teddy bear in his cot and he's got teddy bear and his imaginary friend in his inventory. I'm going to have to empty Gerry's inventory before I send him to China. There's Iris. Yes, I'll go through their inventories and make sure they're not carrying too much junk. It slows the game down. Even Gerry, with that little bit that he's got, is making my game lag a bit. I didn't think it was enough to really cause a problem, but when I moved everything out and put it in the fridge, the game became a lot easier to handle. So that little bit was giving me lag. It wasn't much lag, but I could notice it. I don't think Gerry got any benefit of planting his garlic plant and his life fruit plant in those pots. Either the wishes aren't granted when those plants grow in pots, or it just didn't get granted. Iris wants to grow a bell pepper. I'll let her plant it, but I'm not going to hang around for it to be granted. We're only waiting now for that forbidden fruit to mature and be ready to be harvested. It takes 3 days. You plant it, it becomes a sprout, then it is growing, and then it's mature, and then you can pick it or harvest it. Maybe that's 4 days. Don't know. Just so long as no children age up to teen in the meantime. I suspect one of them just might. Somewhat later, young Dan is still snoring and growing, but now he at least has the moodlet for cuddle time with his little bear. And Gerry and Iris are getting to know each other a bit better. I think there's a little bit of autonomous flirting going on there. Maybe they're discussing recipes. Iris is being a good little mother, helping take care of Dan. I'll have to make sure that Iris picks the next forbidden fruit when it matures and is ready to harvest, because when the plant sim baby is born, its parent is the one that picks it, and its appearance looks like the one that picked it as well. So I want to see how different these two little plant sims will be if Iris picks a baby instead of a forbidden fruit. If she picks a forbidden fruit, well, we're just going to go to China. We are not going to plant it At least not yet, not till I get back from China. So there's a little bit of waiting and wondering what's going to happen next here. They're going to China soon as she picks this forbidden fruit that's growing now. If it's a baby, she'll put it in its cot and they'll go to China. If it's another forbidden fruit, she'll keep it in her inventory and plant it when we get back, or when she gets to Hidden Springs, one or the other. A few days later, and Iris has decided to drop into a party on her way home from work. I've noticed she does this autonomously quite often. Now, this party is at the Hawkins household. The Jen Hawkins, who's on the right there with the dark hair, she's the first sim I ever made way back in 2009, and I've almost never played her. I made a mother and daughter, and that's her daughter on the right with the blonde hair. Her daughter's name is Emma, and that's Megan Urson, who's just walked in. We saw her on the beach in the previous episode. She is the daughter of Claire Urson. The sim holding the toddler is Belinda Green, and I believe the toddler is one of the Green toddlers. Now, Belinda is a teen, as is Emma Hawkins. The one with the back to us, in the culinary career uniform, is Miles Hanson. He is a son of Marty and Marcy Hanson. We met them in the last episode as well. One extra fact about the Green family, Belinda, the teenager with the toddler in her arms, they are an old family that I placed into this world. Didn't realise that they were named Green with an E, and I've decided that they can be related to Gerry, because Gerry is a Green with an E as well. But they're distantly related, so they don't appear in the family tree. Megan Urson is a teen as well. This party went on for quite some time, and they all sat down together and had a meal before Iris wandered off home. When she got back home, she had an interesting encounter with a raccoon. She tossed a wish to chase the raccoon, and I assumed she was going to shoo it off the property. No, that wasn't what she wanted to do at all. And this is something I have never seen happen before, so we are going to watch it. Have you ever seen one of your Sims play chase with a raccoon? Because that is what happens here. Iris and the raccoon set out to chase each other. Off she goes, and the raccoon catches. I think the raccoon's chasing her. I don't think she's chasing it. It just shows it's worthwhile just waiting and watching to see what your Sim's going to do, because I would never have told her to do this. I think we'll leave it here with Iris playing with the raccoon. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one, which will continue on from here. So the next video I post will be the McFluff story, Generation 1, Episode 6. And if you've enjoyed it, please click the like button perhaps. And if you'd like to see more of my videos, consider subscribing. Thank you, and bye for now, and happy simming.